Hello everyone and welcome back to the Farm Easy Learn. In the today video, we are going to discuss an important topic from industrial pharmacy, that is the quality control test for the sterile products. So sterile products must meet the strict quality requirements because they are administered through the sensitive routes such as injection, infusion, or ophthalmic application. So there four different quality control tests are performed to ensure the safety, quality, integrity, and the acceptable appearance of these products. In this video, we will focus on the three important tests, and these are the leaker test, pyrogen test, and clarity test. So let's understand the each step by step test. First one is the leaker test. As the name suggests, the purpose of the leaker test is to determine whether a sealed container or an ampoule has any leakage or defect in its closure or not. Sterile products are commonly packed in containers such as ampoule, vials, and bottles. These containers must remain properly sealed because even a very small defect can allow the microorganisms or the other contaminants to enter into the product. If the contamination enters a sterile product, its sterility may be compromised and the product may become unsafe for use. In a typical dye ingress approach, sealed containers may be exposed to a dye solution under the appropriate test conditions. If there is a crack, defective seal, or leakage pathway, the dye may enter the container and indicate a potential defect. Therefore, the leaker test helps identify the defective containers and supports the container closure integrity. So remember this important point that leaker test detects the leakage or defects in sealed sterile product containers. Its main purpose is to ensure that the container remains properly sealed and protects the sterile product from the external contamination. Leaker test usually detected by producing a negative pressure within incompletely sealed ampoule, usually in a vacuum chamber. The ampoule is entirely submerged in a deeply colored dye solution, usually 0.5% to 1% methylene blue. The applied pressure causes the dye to penetrate into the opening, which is visible after the ampoule is washed to clear the dye vials, and the bottles are not subjected to the such leaker test. The next one is the pyrogen test. First, we have to be understand what is a pyrogen. A pyrogen is a substance that can produce a fever or febrile reaction when introduced into the body. Pyrogen contamination is particularly important for injectable pharmaceutical products because these products can enter the body directly. Therefore, the injectable preparations must be completely or carefully evaluated for pyrogenic contamination. Traditionally, the rapid pyrogen test was used to evaluate whether a product could produce a temperature rise in rabbits or not. The test substance was administered under the control conditions and the animal body temperature were monitored. However, the modern pharmaceutical quality control also uses the bacterial endotoxin testing, including the suitable LAL based methods depending on the product and applicable requirements. And this is an important distinction that sterility testing is concerned with the viable microorganisms, whereas pyrogen or the endotoxin testing evaluates the fever reducing contamination, particularly the bacterial endotoxins. The ultimate purpose of this pyrogen control is patient safety. If pyrogenic substances are present in an injectable product, they may cause fever and other unwanted reactions. So, for the examination purpose, a student, please remember that the pyrogen test means that pyrogen test evaluates the presence of the pyrogenic contamination that may cause a febrile reaction. So now we come to our third test, that is the clarity test. The clarity test is used to examine a pharmaceutical preparation for visible particulate matter, foreign particles, turbidity, or unacceptable changes in appearance. Clarity is especially important for the injectable preparations because these products are administered directly into the body. So during the visual inspection, the container and its contents are examined under the suitable lighting conditions. The preparation is checked for the visible particles such as any fibers, precipitates, or other foreign matters are present or not. If the unexpected visible particles or the abnormal turbidity are observed, the product may require the further investigation according to the applicable specifications. One important point to remember is that the clarity does not necessarily mean that every pharmaceutical preparation must be completely transparent. The expected appearance depends on the particular formulation and its specifications. The important requirement is that the product should meet its specified appearance and should not contain unacceptable visible foreign matter. So please remember that clarity test is performed to check the preparation for visible particulate matter and an acceptable appearance. So please come towards the quick revision. Now let's quickly revise the three quality control tests. Leaker test is performed to check the container for leakage and closure defects. Pyrogen test performed to evaluate the pyrogenic contamination that may cause a febrile reaction. Clarity test performed to check the product for the visible particles and unacceptable changes in appearance. Here is a way to remember that leaker means container, related to container test, pyrogens fever, and clarity is linked to the visible particles. So these three keywords can help you quickly recall the basic purpose of each test during your examination. So today we discussed the three important quality control tests for the sterile products: leaker test, pyrogen test, and clarity test. Each test has a different purpose, but all of them contribute to ensuring the quality and safety of sterile pharmaceutical products. I hope this explanation made the topic easier to understand and remember. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to Pharmaceutical, and share it with your family and with your pharmacy friends. For more simple and exam oriented industrial pharmacy lectures, stay connected with the Pharmaceutical. Thank you for watching.